Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Spurlock. I'm the CEREC Equipment Specialist with Dentsply Sirona for the Atlanta, Georgia, and Birmingham, Alabama markets. Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy out there amid the COVID-19 pandemic that unfortunately has kind of stopped us dead in our tracks from not only practicing but also out there in the field as sales reps and trainers. Hopefully this will get past us soon, but while we have some downtime, I've gotten a number of requests to take a look at the new CEREC Ortho 2.0.1 software. So as some of you may be familiar with, back in our Omnicam days, we did have an orthodontic software module available with the Omnicam. It was a guided scan process and was a very technique-sensitive software, which to say the least, left a little bit to be desired as far as workflow and usability. Now, obviously, with the power of Primescan, we now have Ortho 2.0, which is a fantastic offering not only for the more advanced general dentist that's looking to do aligner therapies, but also for the specialist orthodontist that's looking to get the measurement, analysis, and treatment outcome simulations that this software can now provide. So, without further ado, I'll go ahead and jump into this software and give you a little start-to-finish demo. This should be in real time as well, so it should give you a really good idea of the length of time of scanning, processing of the models, that sort of thing. So, so we can go ahead and start here. We'll go ahead and go into Show Patients. This is our CEREC Ortho home screen, and I'm going to scroll down to find my name here. Obviously, all the patients' names are stored last name and then first name. With unique patient IDs. You can have multiple scans stored under the same patient window, which is nice as well. With our new AuraCheck software, you can actually get some before and after analysis features as far as wear. So there's some neat things you can do there with multiple scans. So we'll go ahead and go in here to my patient file here and add scan. So it'll automatically take us into the acquisition window. So the Primescan camera is motion activated, so it'll be in sleep mode until we pick it up. Today also we are utilizing the new Primescan disposable tips. These are now available from Dentsply Sirona for the Primescan. They're a fantastic addition to any Primescan office, especially as we're now a little bit more heightened and aware of infection control procedures with COVID-19. So we can go ahead and pick the camera up. We're going to be taking our lower jaw scan and upper jaw scan and buccal scan as well. You can take these in any order that you want simply by clicking on the library window. Now, as far as taking full arch scans, we usually recommend doing a lingual scan first, rolling occlusal, and then rolling buccal to finish out the scan. The Primescan, one of the benefits, not only does it capture in true color, not only does it have a blue wavelength light, which helps with highly reflective surfaces, including brackets, but also has a wide field of view, so you can really capture a lot of data on those initial passes. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and start taking our first scan. I'm going to start on my lower left, on the lower, and then move to the upper. Now, you might have noticed as we did that scan, the software is automatically trimming out any of the ancillary data, the cheek, the lip, the gum material that usually really does mess up some decent scans. It's going to do its best job to pre-process all of that even before we build the model out. And once we build that model, software is going to do even more to compress those images and clean them up. So that's the initial pass on our lower scan. Again, with any other point, we can go back into the mouth and fill in. So there's our lower scan. We'll go ahead and move to the upper. And there we are. So there's our upper scan. At this point, we can go back in and fill in any little areas. Again, just with a simple pass, the software will add that data in and then trim out. One nice thing that the Primescan has also, it's got a great ability to capture a soft palette. So we can push just distal into the palette and begin capturing images there. All right, and there's the palette as well. So now that we've captured the upper including palette, we can now move to our buccal registration. This should be as simple as a swipe maxilla to mandible on each side. Ensure the patient holds a firm bite. And there we are. So there's our finalized articulated model at this point, upper and lower. And we can go ahead and build out our model at this point. So one nice feature too, as we're scanning with Primescan, all the models are being pre-processed in the background of the software as we're scanning. So as it's compressing these images and cleaning everything up, what we're going to be left with is a very clean, very detailed final image of the scan. Another nice feature, so with Primescan, everything is a touchscreen interface. The machine itself is fully encrypted, OSHA and HIPAA compliant as far as the guidelines that we need to follow for a medical grade device. Top to bottom can be sterilized. As I mentioned before, we do have the disposable tips available now as well. And you also have a super powerful computer inside, 32 gigs of RAM, over 2 terabytes of storage to process and store this data as well. So a very powerful machine backing this up. So once the scans are processed, it's going to push us into our model phase. So what the software is asking us to do here is to set the midline. We can do this actually just with the 2-finger approach. 2 fingers will move the model vertical and horizontal within space. 1 finger will rotate 360 degrees. So all it's asking us to do here is set the midline and then have our generalized eruption guides for anteriors, premolars, and molars. We can pull this back here just a little bit. Do that for our upper, do that for our lower arch. Obviously, I've got a good bit of crowding here. I could use some Sure Smile treatment myself. So over here we can set the plane of occlusion. Dial this in with some small movements to where we want to see our occlusal plane. Once we have the model axis set, we can click OK and save this in space. The next phase here, truly after we've done this, we could go straight up here to our export screen and bypass our treatment outcome and analysis features if we're simply trying to send this off for a device. So through our Sirona Connect portal here, we could log in and send out to one of over 1,500 orthodontic labs across the U.S. That have our full integration. Aligners, we have our fully encrypted and integrated Sure Smile connection, Clear Correct, as well as Ideal Smile aligners. Manufacturer partners, 3M Incognito for lingual brackets. CA Digital, they do some fantastic digital orthodontic applications, specifically indirect bonding systems, and then file exports. So this is nice too. We have the ability directly here to export as a closed geometry file, or as we like to call a waterproof STL file, where this could be sent directly to a 3D printer ready for 3D printing within your practice. Also just generic STL files if you're sending to a third-party software. This is a fully open source file format, so CEREC is open today. That's something that I think we still get chided for unfairly. We have the ABO export as well if you're needing to send this off to the ABO board for review. And then some other partners that we have here. Stratasys for 3D printing, OnyxCEF for treatment planning, CCAT for airway and functional appliances, as well as Dolphin 3D imaging for practice management software, where we can export that back into your Dolphin software. So, but now we'll go back to the model phase for a moment. and take a look at some other things we can do with the software. So first off, we're going to mark and separate the teeth digitally. So what it's asking for us to do here is basically just number the teeth that we've scanned here. Obviously, I have my third molars. This shouldn't be something that has to be done on most cases, but basically what we're doing is putting the numbers somewhere within the central fissure line of these teeth to digitally mark them and separate them. So we'll do the lower, move on to the upper, and we can delete teeth as well. So if you happen to be missing dentition, we can go in the same way I'm adding teeth and actually delete those teeth as well. As you can see here, when I pull this up, you have the ability to either delete them, letter them, or number them. So we'll move these into space. There we go, looking good to me. Go ahead and separate the teeth. So now the teeth individually will be marked and digitized as separate entities. That looks good there for the lower, and I think we have our upper looking good as well. Sometime you may get some of this pink flowing over into the teeth. Just moving this little attachment or little button on the teeth will help recenter where that color should be. So. Also, another feature, we can add a base and create a digital study model. It defaults to an ABO style base, but we do have the ability to select tweed, rickets, and parallel models as well. But this will enable us to create and tailor a genuine 3D digital study model. So once we click apply, we now have our 3D study model. Nice feature too, on the back of this model, you see my name, date of birth, and the date the scan was taken. So if this is sent to a 3D printer, you always have that information positioned on the back of the model for identification, which is really nice. So now that we've separated the teeth, we can go into our analysis features, and this is where we're getting our true orthodontic analysis, our Nance, Moyers, Bolton analysis. So we can go ahead and start down here at the bottom. We can see the different areas. So we've got our occlusion. It's going to take a look at our class right, our class left measurements, our overbite, and our overjet. We can then move on to tooth widths. So we've got our lower tooth widths here, and again, I can move these position points anywhere that I want to get the measurements that I want to see. There's our lower, our upper. Moving into zones now, we have our zone measurements for lower and for upper. Arch length, again, we can take these positions and move them to get different measurements as well. There's our lower, there's our upper for arch lengths, transversal measurements for lower and upper, and then the symmetry measurements as well. Now what this does is if we go down here and export as a PDF, it's going to render this. It's a model analysis, so it's a full treatment and model analysis PDF file that can be attached to the patient folder. It has your Nance, Moyers, Bolton analysis, sagittal symmetry, overbite, overjet, tooth measurements, the whole shebang that we just went through, basically. So it's a fantastic review form for the orthodontist. So we have that here. We'll go back into our software. Now that we have taken our or analyzed and looked at our different measurements, separating the teeth also allows us to take a look at a visual simulation. So one nice thing about this is what the software is doing is giving us a computer-generated rendering of what the teeth are going to look like post-treatment. So we can take a look at my original tooth positioning and then positioning post-treatment. A nice thing about this as well, we can see maybe the software made a little bit of some miscalculation with some missing gingiva up here for my my lateral. We could actually go in here to simulate extraction. We could go in and simulate my extraction on my molars for the lower, for the upper, and literally just take these out. Go back into the simulation of treatment here, and we can even move these teeth take the gingiva out. Trying to actually find out where that is. Move. There we go. Where we can actually go into the lower and upper and adjust these teeth digitally, moving them into place into a different orientation, which is really nice. So gives us a lot of power for education, for treatment outcome simulation, fortunately, in the future, I think we're going to be able to have this technology where we're able to do more with tooth positioning with our SureSmile software, and actually having everything integrated on the Primescan itself for this, for treatment planning and in results for in-office 3D printing and aligner making. So a lot to come with that moving forward in the future. So that's really the end result. After we have our treatment outcome simulation, we can go into export as well, which we already went through. But I think this new software, here's the final scan, digital upper and lower of my jaw. So you can see just the quality and the detail of this image. The Primescan's 19 microns of accuracy. Which is, it obviously shows up. I could use a little bleaching, I can see, but don't have many restorations, but you can see how it does as far as picking up on metallic restorations. It's going to give not only the general dentist, but the specialist orthodontist some amazing tools for education analysis, as well as treatment options for their patients. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this, watching the video. I hope it was educational for you. If you have any questions about CEREC or the CEREC Ortho software, please reach out to your distributor partners and reps, as well as your Dentsply Sirona CEREC equipment specialists. Godspeed and God bless out there as we are still fighting through this pandemic, and everyone stay happy and healthy and enjoy some time with your family. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.